In this week's video, I share 4 old school approaches to employee communications, and I encourage you to listen to these and see if you're still using them in your organization, because if you are, they're negatively affecting employee engagement and it's time to give them up. I'm Morgan Quist, I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with leaders and organizations to help them shift from surviving to thriving in their careers. One old school approach is thinking about your employee communications as top down. And I know you've heard this before, but so many executives are still doing this. They're thinking, as an executive, what do I need to communicate to the employee population? And instead, think about how to include employees in the process. Think about what dialogue you need to have about the topic. And go beyond your employee engagement data. Do you need to have a focus group? Are there employee-led groups in the organization that are focused on culture or product that you can sit down and listen to as part of the process? Perhaps you have an internal social media platform that you can use. But instead of thinking about it and approaching it in a top-down way, it's all about horizontal and dialogue. The second old school approach is thinking about employee communications as just those formal tactics that are mentioned in your communication plan, like a newsletter article or a presentation that you're going to do. Instead, it's important to remember that your employee communications and your employee engagement is really about the everyday interactions that you have. It's about how you conduct yourself as an executive in a meeting. It's about the hallway conversations. It's about the casual conversation that you have at the coffee bar. Because it's so important to remember, I've been using this quote for about 20 years from Maya Angelou, which is, people forget what you say and people will forget what you do, but they won't forget how you made them feel. And it's really important to remember that as you think about employee engagement and employee communications in your organization. The third old school approach is thinking about your employee communications as these formal plans that you need to create and implement throughout the organization. Instead, think about it as a more iterative process. What milestones can you create in your plan when you get feedback from employees and might make changes to your plan based on that feedback? Have regular check-ins throughout the process instead of one big plan that is implemented. Old school approach number 4 is thinking about your employee population as one big group. Instead, we need to remember that it's made up of individual teams that have their own mini cultures in some cases, their own perceptions of the organization and the senior leaders, and to keep that in mind as you work on your communication efforts. And one of the most important people in the organization is the team leader. How effective are your team leaders in their communications with their team members? I think there's a huge opportunity for training and coaching and mentoring and practicing when it comes to team leaders and their communication skills. That could be a huge game changer for your organization if that's a bigger focus. I'm Morgan Quist, I'm your Thrival Guide, and I partner with leaders to shift from surviving to thriving in their careers. I encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel or follow me on LinkedIn for weekly roadmaps on how to thrive. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below this video, and I look forward to seeing you next time.